my name is Anna Morelli, and I am the historian and archivist at the Frost Valley YMCA. Today, I'm going to be giving you a tour of the historical building that we at Frost Valley call the Castle. As many of you know, the Frost Valley YMCA camp is a very old one, with roots dating back to 1885. Although the camp started in New Jersey and changed locations and names a few times, it eventually settled in its permanent location in an area of the Catskills called Frost Valley, which is where we get our name. When the land known as Frost Valley and the buildings on it were up for sale in the 1950s, it seemed like a great place to set up a summer camp and conference retreat center. Many buildings were already on the property, since this location was also home to a dairy farm that operated year-round. Those buildings were used as lodges, offices, an infirmary, and arts and crafts, among other things. Within the first couple of years of purchasing the property, a new dining hall and cabins were built and Lake Pole was created. The castle, which was originally a vacation home for Julius Horseman and his family, was an ideal location for conference retreats. The Frost Valley location helped a historical summer camp evolve into a year-round facility that provided lodging and programs for summer campers, groups and families, and students. Many of the original buildings were remodeled for camp use, but the castle has remained close to its original form. Whether or not you have been to Frost Valley and have had a castle tour in the past, I hope you learned something new today. Welcome to Forsman Lodge, built between 1915 and 1916. It was the summer home and hunting and fishing lodge of Julius Horseman. Mr. Horseman owned the Horseman Woolen Company in Passaic, New Jersey, where he resided with his wife Adolphine and their 5 children. They called the house Contentment Corner and spent summers here walking in the woods, birding, riding horses, hunting, fishing, and swimming. The handcrafted walls and ceiling of each room on the first floor are made of different types of wood and are uniquely designed. White oak panels the spacious hall. Opposite the Riverstone fireplace was the former entrance and now elevator, which was installed in 1951. The room is decorated with original trophies of Mr. Forsman. At one time, there was also an osprey on the mantel, a black bear by the fireplace, and a swordfish on the stairwell wall. The floors on this level are mahogany and teak, kept in place with pegs and butterfly hinges. The office is paneled in white oak, which has been stained very dark. The light fixture is hand-worked copper and displays card suits, so perhaps cards were also played here. A private phone line was installed in this room after the house was completed, so Mr. Forsman could attend to his woolen industry business while living in his Catskills home. The Forsman family had been involved in the woolen industry since 1563. In 1793, Johann Forsman built the first woolen factory bearing the Forsman name. Julius was born to Heinrich and Augusta Weiss Forsman in Germany in 1871. He worked in the woolen industry for his father in Germany until 1890, when the McKinley Tariff, which slowed down European exports to the United States, made it necessary for him to work in the U.S. plants. In 1903, Julius went to Passaic, New Jersey as the director of Botany Worsted Mills in charge of women's wear. By August of 1904, he founded the Forsman and Huffman Worsted Mill in Passaic, later known as Forsman Woolen Company. During World War I, Mr. Forsman's company manufactured gabardine uniforms for the armed forces, donating them at cost so that no profit was made. The company established measurement standards, which are still in use today. Other achievements were made in color and fabric research, and the wool labeling law was adopted. This law required that every garment with wool content be labeled with the percentage of wool it contained. The music room features an arched ceiling for greater acoustical balance. Its walls are paneled in bird's eye maple with mahogany trim. The piano, by Steinway & Sons of New York, is made of American walnut. Playing it was one of Mrs. Adolphine Forsman's favorite pastimes. The Forsman family bought 5 pianos from Steinway over a period of 50 years for their various homes. Mrs. Forsman was also an avid gardener, and when not playing the piano or otherwise entertaining, spent hours caring for her rose garden and the gardens at Reflection Pond and around the main house. The main living room walls and ceiling are cherry. The one-of-a-kind ceiling design houses Austrian-cut crystal chandeliers. It is said the paneling, with its ascending shorter panels, makes a person appear taller as they enter the room. The painting of the red deer is by self-taught artist Christian Kroner. He often sketched and painted game on location in the mountain forests of Bavaria. He depicted animals in their natural light and habitat, winning numerous awards for his accurate representations. The number of deer visible in this painting changes with the variation of light in the room. The portrait of Julius Horseman in his riding attire is a reproduction kindly donated to Frost Valley YMCA, along with a monetary gift by grandson Theodore J. Horseman, who desired the original, which was painted on site in 1923 by Nikola Mikolov. It is an interesting portrait because Mr. Horseman's eyes appear to gaze at you wherever you are in the room. The sunroom walls are made of Japanese maple. European characteristics are evident in the heraldic crests on the brass chandelier and in the style of the door handles and window latches. It is said that Mr. Horseman had this house fashioned after his childhood home in Germany. The east windows provide an excellent view of Slide Mountain, the highest of the Catskill Peaks at 4,204 feet. Across the pasture flows the west branch of the Neversink River, where Mr. Horseman could conveniently fly fish. On the west wall is a watercolor painting of the main dairy barn, which was later remodeled into Margette's Lodge by the YMCA. The dining room walls are white oak. The plate rails and heraldic crests above the doors add to the house's European charm. The oak dining room set was made by Flint and Horner of New York. The silver-plated copper chandelier and wall sconces were made by Tiffany's of New York and were polished so often that much of the silver plate has been rubbed off. Large gatherings of guests and friends could be readily accommodated by adding 5 additional leaves to the table. Attached to the dining hall is the butler's pantry. Since the kitchen was on the basement floor of the building, a dumbwaiter was used to bring the food up to the dining room. Located on the second floor are many guest bedrooms, as well as Mr. and Mrs. Horseman's master bedroom. The third floor is where the Horseman's children had their bedrooms, as well as an open play area.